new episodes of The View when she tries to pull the race card.
Yes.
And then she's like, America is racist. And then they're like, yeah, they might be racist, but they're not like slave owner racist. like somebody that we...
That's so true.
Yeah.
One thing, and I would have even actually not give her any, is she said, well, I guess that's just what they did back then.
Yeah.
She should have followed that up with saying something along the lines of, and I understand that that's a departure from the way I've talked about this.
The punchline landed perfectly, triggering a burst of laughter in the room. But Greg Gutfeld wasn't satisfied with just delivering a punchline. He seized the moment to call attention to what he viewed as long-standing hypocrisy. Sunny Hostin has frequently spoken out about holding others accountable for their ancestral histories, often framing her arguments in terms of systemic oppression and historical responsibility. However, when confronted with revelations about her own family's troubling past, she casually dismissed it, brushing it off as simply a fact of life. Gutfeld didn't let this go unnoticed. He pointed out how moments like these highlight the dangers of identity politics, especially when the narrative someone promotes doesn't align with their own reality. He argued that Sunny's self-righteous stance had just crumbled and emphasized the importance of self-awareness and nuance when navigating complex issues like race and history. Gutfeld pointed out how reducing complex issues to identity-driven talking points often leads to activists, like Sunny, overlooking inconvenient facts, including their own.
So wrapped up in identity, and she had no idea who she was.
Well, now we understand why she always makes Whoopi get the coffee.
Exactly, because if she is shaming descendants of this, will she continue to do that when she is now one of
contradictions? The real irony, he argued, wasn't just that Sunny's ancestors were linked to a system she vehemently opposes, but that she missed the opportunity for self-reflection. Instead, she minimized its significance, avoiding any recognition of the stark contradiction in her position. His commentary struck a chord with many, offering a clear example of what happens when moral superiority meets uncomfortable truths. For Gutfeld, this wasn't just about Sunny, it was a broader lesson on how personal accountability often takes a backseat to performative outrage. The internet wasted no time responding, with social media exploding in memes and sharp humor. One viral post on Twitter read, "Reparations? Let me write that check to myself real quick." On TikTok and Twitter, users rushed to share strong opinions, with some defending Sunny by claiming she shouldn't be held responsible for her ancestors' actions, while others pointed out her glaring double standard. Voice 3. This sparked a heated debate. Should public figures like Sunny be held to the same moral standard?
Well, in her defense, everyone has ancestors that did unspeakably horrible things. It's just that not everyone's ancestors have records tied to their DNA about it. Worried for Sunny Hostin's progeny in the future that do a DNA test and find out that they were related to a cast member of The View. And they're like, oh, it all makes so much sense now. Why I'm so stupid and fat.
Standards they demand from others. Critics argued that her response lacked the introspection and growth one would expect from someone in such a prominent position. Meanwhile, Sunny's dismissive reaction to her family's past shifted the focus from potential self-reflection to accusations of hypocrisy. Rather than addressing the complexities of ancestry and accountability, the conversation turned to her failure to confront her own history, morphing into yet another debate about who holds true moral accountability. The fallout on The View was equally uncomfortable. As the news about Sunny's ancestors being slave owners broke, the once lively atmosphere at the table fell into a tense silence. Even Whoopi Goldberg, usually quick with a comeback, seemed uncertain on how to respond to the ironic revelation. On Gutfeld's show, however, the mood was entirely different. His co-host didn't hold back, throwing in sharp jabs and playful digs. One even joked that Sunny might need to start shaming herself for her family's past. Their laughter acted as a biting critique, further highlighting the cracks in Sunny's moral stance. Even Rosie O'Donnell weighed in, offering a more thoughtful perspective.
Nothing worse than to find out you're a white woman.
She's so disappointed.
It's really disappointing.
Her mother was white.
Oh my God.
Shame.
Oh my God.
The horror. History, and finds out that this is fantastic. She is descended from slaveholders. She's descended from slaveholders, and she's been apparently getting a lot of mail about her call for reparations because it turns out she's going to be paying him and not actually receiving
on the situation. Voice 4. She emphasized that people should be judged by their actions, not their ancestry, urging caution against oversimplifying complex issues like race and history. Her perspective highlighted how such revelations can challenge rigid narratives and prompt uncomfortable yet necessary self-reflection. The reactions to Sunny's response revealed a sharp divide. Some viewed it as an opportunity for personal accountability, while others saw it as another instance of identity politics backfiring. Regardless of where people stood, the tension surrounding her response was undeniable. What could have been a moment for growth for Sunny instead turned into a debate about her perceived hypocrisy and her reluctance to confront her own past. This story serves as a reminder that no one's history is without complexity, raising an important question. If you demand accountability from others, shouldn't you hold yourself to the same standard?
Among the dumbest people on television.
Sonny's dumb. Certainly not the brightest person. And what she just said just doesn't make any sense. It's just like so silly to say. It's not a well thought out. It's like if you had an idea for a premise and it was totally baked, half baked, and you went on stage with it and it's nothing.
Just
there.
go for it. Yeah.
Standard. Whether Sunny chooses to confront the issue or ignore it entirely, how she handles this moment will have lasting implications for her legacy. Voice 5. Meanwhile, Sunny's personal life took another controversial turn, this time with her husband, Dr. Emmanuel Hostin, thrust into a massive legal storm. The allegations against him are severe: insurance fraud, legal kickbacks, and a staggering 180 defendants involved in a resale lawsuit. This isn't just a routine legal dispute. It's a high-stakes scandal that could potentially rock the medical world to its foundations. At the heart of the lawsuit is an alleged scheme involving Dr. Hostin and others, exploiting the healthcare system for profit. The accusations include accepting bribes to perform unnecessary surgeries and submitting fraudulent insurance claims for procedures that may
policy. I mean, I'm not saying that Joe Rogan should be removed from Spotify. He's got 11 million listeners. He's got a $100 million contract as of 2020. But I do think as the podcast platform, you have to have some sort of guidelines. How about a disclaimer on a podcast that says, this is misinformation? How about removing some of the podcasts that disseminate this misinformation?
They have.
And that's
not have even occurred. Picture patients undergoing anesthesia for operations they didn't need, while insurance companies unknowingly foot the bill. If these allegations prove true, this could become one of the most shocking medical scandals in recent memory. Voice 6. But Dr. Hostin's lawyer, Daniel Thie, has fired back, calling the lawsuit baseless and accusing the insurance company of using it as a smokescreen to hide their own financial issues. The legal battle has only intensified, but what truly makes this story explosive is how it ties directly to Sunny. As it turns out, she may have been fully aware of her husband's questionable dealings. Enter Joe Rogan, the podcast mogul who wasted no time calling out the hypocrisy he saw on The View *. He pointed out that while Sunny frequently criticized others for their medical advice, she never once acknowledged the possibility that she might have known about her husband's alleged illegal activities. Rogan's comments only stoked the flames, casting doubt on Sunny's credibility, as she now finds herself caught in the crossfire of her public persona and her husband's legal troubles. This situation is no longer just about the lawsuit, it's about the truth behind public figures and their carefully constructed images. The drama keeps unfolding, and whether Sunny confronts the issue or stays silent will likely shape the public's perception of her moving forward. From one controversy to the next, this time it wasn't The View or a political debate. It was Carrie Underwood's decision to perform at the presidential inauguration. Voice 7. The country music superstar, beloved for her pure talent and drama-free persona, suddenly found herself at the center of cancel culture. What was supposed to be a moment of pride, an opportunity to celebrate her country, quickly spiraled into a storm of backlash. Critics were quick to label her a supporter of a convicted felon simply for agreeing to perform. But here's the twist. It wasn't about the performance itself. It was about what the performance represented to people who couldn't separate their political biases from their admiration for her as an artist. Voice 8. Despite the backlash, Carrie didn't back down. Instead, she stood strong, earning respect from a new wave of supporters who admired her courage to stand by her decision. In contrast, some of her fellow country music stars stayed silent, fearing backlash or losing endorsement deals. Not Carrie, she stood tall, The View didn't waste any time getting in on the action, accusing Carrie of normalizing a convicted felon just for singing America the Beautiful. Yet as of now, no felony conviction exists. Only outrage that hit a critical tone from some in the media was impossible to ignore, especially when it was clear that Carr's choice was a simple act of patriotism. Carr's story